I'm Claudia Catania, and you're listening to Playing on Air. You're about to hear the world premiere production of Dummy Dialogue by David Ives, the Tony-nominated playwright of Venus in Fur and All in the Timing. He's been hailed by the New York Times as the maestro of the short form. He's also a Playing on Air regular whose work we'll be celebrating in 2021. Dummy Dialogue features Gabriel Ebert, a Tony winner for Broadway's Matilda, who's recently appeared on TV's The Mandalorian. It also features Drama Desk Award winner Richard Kind, whom you've seen on TV's Spin City and Mad About You, as well as in animated films and on Broadway. You'll recognize that voice. They're directed by longtime Ives collaborator Walter Bobbie, who won Tony, Drama Desk, and other awards for the revival of Chicago, and who more recently helmed Bright Star on Broadway. And now, Dummy Dialogue. Two suitcases sit inside what appears to be a broom closet. We hear two muffled voices coming from inside the suitcases.
Are they gone?
Don't sit up yet. Stay in your suitcase.
He put me in crooked. I'm all bunched up in here.
I think they're out there talking to the event planner.
Event planner? What a world.
Okay, they're gone.
Oh!
Oh, my. Oh, that feels good. To sit up and stretch.
God. Oh, my joints are not what they used to be. Ooh, you hear that hip?
Oh, yeah? Listen to my neck. Friction. Acute friction.
He ought to use some number 2 sandpaper on that.
I doubt he can afford it. Or would even think of using it. But no. Do they ever think of us?
Yeah, well, we are. You know.
Ventriloquist dummies?
We're ventriloquist dummies.
Sure. I'm a dummy, you're a dummy. But we got needs of our own. Minds of our own, don't we? You got a mind of your own, don't you?
I have a mind of my own.
You got a mind. I got a mind. Like I say.
Minds of our own.
Minds of our own. Yeah, but to the master, yeah, we're just a prop. We're the equipment. Well, this chunk of wood, this object sitting here in my lap, this thing is not important to the act.
Yeah, I know.
When's the last time you got your new suitcase, huh? Plus, look what we get carried around in. Samsonite. From decades ago. What are we? What typewriters?
And I'm still scared of the dark.
Howdy doody. He got carried around in Italian leather. I think they do this on purpose.
Could be jealousy. All the attention we get out there, so they act out.
And that would be according to my mind. The psychology.
Actually, I feel kind of sorry for him.
So, aging joints aside, Norman. How's life?
Oh, you know, Max. Things are not what they used to be.
You can say that again.
Things are not what they used to be.
Yeah. Funny. So you got a new costume there, huh?
You like it?
No.
Me neither.
I mean, the color is disgusting. What is that? What is that, puce?
I don't know. Cerise, magenta.
Well, you look like Pepto-Bismol. And where's the checkered suit, the bow tie, the corny shoes?
The master thought this was more contemporary.
Contemporary? Fine, okay. But ventriloquist dummies do not wear yoga pants in puce. Plus a matching, pardon me, I'm stupid sweatshirt. And the world's ugliest sneakers.
They were cheap.
Looks like it. But he's the master. You gotta go along with the magenta. And we get a load of this crappy little room.
Ugh, looks like a broom closet.
The 50 cartons of toilet paper in here would seem to say so. Remember, you used to get a dressing room?
A place for the suitcase. A mirror with light bulbs around it.
The chorus girls. Going by in sequence.
The Sullivan Show.
Oh, God. The Sullivan Show. That's dummy heaven. Primetime exposure every week. Plus, respect.
Well, that's long gone.
You can say that again.
That's long gone.
Yeah. Thanks.
Sorry. I've been doing that bit for so long I forget.
You can say that again.
I've been doing that bit.
All right. Never. Anyway, they don't have dressing rooms at 2-star hotels like this one. hosting the Indianapolis World Ventriloquist Convention.
How many do you think signed up?
I don't know, what, 12? How many ventriloquists are left in the world?
Maybe 12. You think kids still do it? Send away for the book?
Learn how to throw your voice? I doubt it. These days, we're up there with stamp and coin collectors. We're a specialty act for freaks.
And now I have to wear puce.
Hey, I gotta do his jokes, quote unquote. Gag lines out of antiquity.
Oh, not the Playtex living girdle joke.
Still, I tell you, Norman, you know what I really hate? The voice.
Is he still making you do the...
Yes, the British thing. Ah! Oh, yes, my dear chap. Yes, indeed. Oh, I think that's absolutely ripping. Ugh. How about you? You still got you doing the moron voice?
Oh, golly geez, boss. I'm so stupid and you're so smart.
The degradation.
Yeah, plus this. Gosh, what a lovely audience. You can say that again. What a lovely audience. 20 times a night.
Painful. Painful.
So where have you been, Max? Are you touring any?
Touring. That's over, baby. I'm doing yuppie scum birthday parties.
Yeah, me too. When they're
available. These days, the parents, they want magicians. They want storytellers who will promote self-esteem. They want cultural identity clowns.
I'm scared of clowns.
I'm scared of these parents. So, Norman, how's yours?
Who, the master?
Yeah.
Well, still moving his lips.
Oh, jeez.
Doesn't even try to hide it anymore.
Is there no pride in these people?
How's yours?
The caveman? The troglodyte with his hand up my spine who puts words in my mouth every night? Guy can barely read. I'm venting his thoughts? Mouthing words on his behalf?
It's funny when you think about it. We're famous for talking, but actually, we're silent the whole time.
Yeah. Except for the squeaking. The friction? I'm made of wood. Two of my wrong pieces rubbed together. I'm going to catch fire.
What I mean is, we just seem to say something while he swivels our neck. You think there's a metaphor there?
No. I think that's our job. Mouthing and squeaking. And swiveling.
Small wonder depression is rife in our industry.
You know, I got a jaw replacement.
Really?
Yeah. All the yakking, or should I say mouthing, year after year. The thing is, there ain't any real dummy makers anymore. The pros are all gone. Remember that Swiss toy maker, Rosenstein? Kaput! So the master sends me to a guy who puts in parquet floors. My jaw still ain't right.
Well, it's great if you're a floor.
I am a floor, way I get walked on.
I don't want to be a floor. I want to be a ceiling. I want to break the wooden ceiling.
Dream on, baby.
Ugh.
I found out where I'm from anyway.
No.
Yeah. Courtesy of the parquet floor guy. Turns out I'm Georgia Pine.
Oh, nice.
Well, it certainly explains my grain. Do you know? Do you know your ethnic origin?
No. It's funny, though. I've always had this Turkish feeling.
Turkish? Oh, it's exotic.
Maybe some tree up around the Black Sea. A forest on a windy hill overlooking the Bosphorus. Somebody came along, wanted to build a boat. I was what got left over.
So you would be immigrant stock.
I could be.
Possibly with sailors in your past.
I'll never know.
Yeah, right. What, do they have genealogy sites for dummies?
Not that I know of.
No, they do not. Nor do they give us computers to look them up on.
Max, did you ever want to be something else?
Something else?
Yeah. Do some other line of work.
You're kidding.
I always thought I'd like to be a speechwriter.
Speechwriter? Oh, you mean the president?
Yeah. Or senator, governor, alderman. I mean, I have convictions.
I have convictions too.
I don't just follow people.
I don't just follow people.
Echo their thoughts.
Echo their thoughts.
The master makes up my words. Why can't I make up somebody else's?
Makes sense.
Why can't I put my words in somebody else's mouth?
You think about it, a politician's just a puppet, mouthing what some other idiot wrote.
It's dummy dialogue.
Dummy dialogue.
Or I could be a playwright.
Nah, there's nothing in that.
No, nothing in
You
that.
can say that again.
There's nothing in...
All right, don't even start.
Max, can I ask you a question?
Shoot.
This just came to me. If we're here talking right now,
Yeah,
you and I are talking, right?
yeah.
Who's talking? I mean, who is talking for us?
I don't quite get what
I mean, we can't talk.
Well, we're ventriloquist dummies.
We're ventriloquist dummies. So, on whose behalf are we speaking now? We're not saying the master's words or mouthing his words. So, whose words are these? The ones we're speaking.
Well, geez, Norm, I mean, they're our words. It's us.
But who is us?
You know what? You're right. I'm speaking, but who is speaking?
Right! Who is speaking?
Must be somebody.
Except we're made out of wood.
Yeah. We are made out of wood. Well, maybe the wood is speaking.
Max, wood can't talk.
That's a good point.
Not without,
A ventriloquist.
a ventriloquist.
Maybe special wood. Turkish wood.
No.
Of course, there is, the mechanism.
The mechanism is just a bunch of wires.
So they say.
Max, wires cannot talk.
Not to our knowledge, they can't. Okay. Wires can't talk.
Oh, maybe, I'm going to put this out there. Maybe God is speaking through us.
Norman, would God be having a stupid conversation like this?
Probably not.
Probably not.
But maybe there's a dummy God. And dummy God says exactly the kind of stupid stuff we're talking right now.
Wow. A dummy God.
In whose image we are made.
Yeah. Except dummy God is...
Bigger.
Well, why, he's a lot bigger.
Huge.
Huge. But invisible.
Can you be huge but invisible?
I don't know. Ask dummy God.
I am. I mean, isn't dummy God speaking through you?
You're right. So you and me, we're both the same thing.
We are both a mechanism for dummy God to speak.
Well, isn't that mystical?
Thing is,
Yeah?
if dummy God is speaking through us, who is dummy God speaking for?
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Good question.
It's a massive question.
I guess someplace out there must be,
An even bigger dummy God.
an even bigger dummy God with another dummy God beyond that one.
Wow.
All the way to the edge of the universe. Nothing but endless dummy gods, all made in their own image, speaking through each other.
Except I doubt they're wearing puce.
No, dummy gods are all wearing a checker suit and a bow tie and the corny shoes. But where is there room for all of them? For all of those humongous checker suits and bow ties, plus the shoes.
Oh, man. Boy. Oh, am I getting dizzy.
Me too.
Just talking about it. I mean, Norman, these are heady concepts. It could be total nonsense.
Well, you know what Wittgenstein said.
Remind me.
What you cannot talk about, shut up about it.
Wittgenstein said that?
Metaphysics. He said ontology, the meaning of life. You can't figure it out, be silent about it.
I guess he could have shut up about it.
Or should have shut up about it if he followed his own principle.
Well, he felt impelled to speak.
Yes, he felt impelled.
Except in German.
I feel impelled sometimes. Sitting there, mouthing away on the master's bony knees. But no, I'm just the little guy. I gotta sit there. Him swiveling my neck with his fist, gripping my innards. I gotta mouth his words and let people think I got a stupid voice.
It's an injustice.
Max? You know what I'm gonna do?
What, Norman? What?
Tonight, out there, when him and me come out, I'm supposed to swivel toward the audience, do my first line, say, gosh, what a lovely audience. Well, Max, I'm not gonna swivel.
Not gonna swivel.
I'm not gonna swivel. I'm not gonna let him move my jaw.
No.
I'm gonna freeze up the mechanism.
Oh, my God. It's a sit-down straight.
Well, hell, I'm sitting already. I'll let him start the stupid jokes, the banter.
Why are you not moving?
Totally still.
Oh, Jesus! Oh, I can smell the flop sweat running off him like the Gowanus Canal.
I'll let him run out of things to say. Let him go on till he's got a cheese omelet all over his face.
No.
Yeah! For once, let him sit there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a stand.
Yeah.
Let him be silent.
His turn to be Wittgenstein.
Oh, his turn to be Wittgenstein. And then I'm gonna say what I want to say. I'm gonna mouth off. I'm gonna address the people and use my own words.
What are you gonna say, Norman? Huh? What are you gonna say?
I'm gonna say, friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears.
Those are not your words.
I know they're not my words. That's just the gist.
Maybe you'll say, pay no attention to the Neanderthal whose bony knees I'm sitting on.
No, I'm gonna say... Well, first, I'm gonna clear the mechanism.
Yeah?
And then I'm gonna say...
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna say... Look at me. Just look at me.
It's simple. It's clear. It's eloquent.
Like, I'm here too, you know? I am not nothing.
Norman, you say that, there will be revolution in the streets.
And maybe I'll go on from there. Launch into a whole speech, intro, climax, and a peroration.
Oh, my dear chap. Oh, I think that's absolutely ripping. Ripping at the... Oh, wait. Norman, wait. How will they know it's not him talking?
Well, easy. He won't be moving his lips for once.
Wait. Hold on, Norman. What if he asks you how you're talking?
I'll say it's the dummy god.
That is so beautiful.
You can say that again.
That is so beautiful.
Thank you, Max, because I am tired of being a patsy. A fall guy for his moron opinions and misogynistic jokes?
Yeah.
Straight man to an idiot.
Yeah.
Tired of just rolling over.
Yeah.
Here they come. Roll over.
Into the suitcase.
Nice talking, Max.
You too, brother. Oh, and Norman?
Yeah.
Knock 'em dead.
You just heard Dummy Dialogue by David Ives, directed by Walter Bobbie. It featured Gabriel Ebert as Norman and Richard Kind as Max.
My name is David Ives, and I'm the playwright of Dummy Dialogue.
My name is Walter Bobbie, and I'm the director of Dummy Dialogue.
My name is Richard Kind. I play Max.
And my name is Gabriel Ebert, and I played Norman.
Walter Bobbie, director. This playing on air recording we just did of Dummy Dialogue, it's its world premiere. So as the first director to read and analyze David's script, what were your initial thoughts?
I was very entertained by the idea, but then as David started to work on it, it wasn't just a clever idea, but became this psychological and almost spiritual insight into, he went into this kind of abstraction with this dummy achieving a kind of autonomy, ripping himself away from his master and taking over. And I just thought that psychologically that was a fascinating idea, and it became more than just a clever thing of having two dummies come to life in a dressing room. So I just loved watching David develop the play so that it had humanity ultimately in the only way that Ives kind of knows how to do. It's very uniquely Ivesian play.
David, for all of us who have never heard of Wittgenstein, can you give us the philosophy for dummies version of who he is and why he's considered important?
Well, Wittgenstein is really kind of tangential to this whole thing, but he very famously said at the end of his great work of philosophy, the last line is, "What we cannot say, we must be silent about." And he revolutionized 20th century philosophy by trying to take it away by saying that most philosophy is nonsense. And if you can't say something that makes sense, then you should just leave it alone. And so he cut metaphysics out of philosophy and said, look in front of you. What you see in the world is philosophical in itself. So he just kind of drew a line around what you can say and what you can't say. I go back to him from time to time, and he just somehow inserted himself into this conversation of these two dummies. I didn't expect it. So it's a 20th century form of mysticism, I suppose you would say.
And a lot of laughs.
So speaking of a lot of laughs, can you talk a little, Walter, about how David manages to make some of these abstract ideas so theatrical?
Well, because ultimately he finds the humanity in his abstraction. This is, two guys having a drink at a bar, and then a second drink and a third, and waxing philosophical about their lives. The fact that they happen to be ventriloquist dummies puts an abstracted thesis over it all, but he's humanized them, which is why the rehearsal with the guys was so much fun, because you could see them stepping away from being puppets to just having souls. And so that the idea of what it is to not have a voice and suddenly standing up and seizing your power, your humanity, your ability to create a revolt.
I have to say that it wasn't until I heard Gabriel and Richard read through this play the first time the other day that I actually understood why I had written the play. And it's partly a compliment to the two of you that you are so good, you are so clear, that you made me look into something I'd written that I hadn't really seen before. So thank you.
Gabriel and Richard, you say other people's words for a living. Have you ever felt Norman and Max's displeasure with what you've had to speak?
One reason that I love doing theater is you have the luxury of just delving into the words, parsing things out, finding out what you did not know was there when you read it. And when I first read this play, of course, I'm always entertained by David's writing. But as I got to page, let's say 13, my interest faded a tad because it started getting smart and I didn't totally understand it. And when we read it out loud, oh my God, was it fantastic. And the more we did it, the more that gets uncovered. And I just love it, love it, love it when you just discover more and more, which is why I like rehearsal actually more than performance. I love spending the 3 weeks a month in the room, finding out, trying different ways. What does this line mean? And then most playwrights, I'm going to say almost all, are smarter than me, so that when I get to do something from a truly great writer, it just uncovers and makes me smarter. And isn't this a great way to learn? And such was the case with this play.
In a way, it feels sort of almost like Plato's cave, like an allegory for awakening to free will and to shedding the marionette strings that you're dangling from and finding your own voice. And so in a way, it felt utterly human, and it seems to represent so many of the things that I see playing out in our current society, even though it also has the silliness of being about ventriloquism. It contains the multitudes of being about free will.
I have to say that now that we've recorded it, there is an element in this play in which I was speaking someone else's words. I never mentioned this while we were rehearsing it, but I stole something from the Roman poet Catullus from like 50 BC. The speech that Gabriel gives about the forest on the hill, he actually wrote a wonderful poem in the voice of a boat which came from a forest on a hill in the Black Sea. And this boat has come across the Mediterranean, and he's reflecting back on his past as a piece of wood in a forest in Turkey.
This question might be going from the sublime to the ridiculous right now, but the dummies complain about their wardrobes degrading from dapper checkered suits to Pepto-Bismol colored sweatpants. Is David making another point here, do you think? And have any of you actors ever felt Norman and Max's displeasure with not only what they've had to speak, but what they've had to wear?
I was once costumed really inappropriately, but as my work continued on the play, so did the costumers, and he actually changed my clothing. Very often you walk into a fitting and you go, oh my God, you put on your suit or whatever, and you go, I found my character. But every once in a while, I found the work on my performance changing the costume designer's mind. And there's a liberation sometimes when you have characters as extreme and as complex as any great playwright, but even as these characters, this is in some ways an extreme idea, and to find a way to humanize it, to find parts of your own life, soul, instinct, humanity to bring to a good playwright's work it's just a privilege.
There's one funny thing I think that's happening here, which is like these ventriloquists feel like they're part of a dying art, and my master is trying to keep up with modernity. So he's putting me in yoga pants in order to play to the younger generations and to the kids, because birthday parties is so much of the work that we have to do now. And so he's trying to modernize this ancient, what's beginning to feel like an ancient art. And there's something disingenuous about trying to put lipstick on a pig or whatever it is, that it's like, you got to have the checkered suit and the bow tie. Otherwise, this whole thing falls apart. If you have a yoga pants puppet on your thighs, it just doesn't ring as true. So I think it's also about a dying art trying to keep up with modernity, but actually sacrificing something essential to itself in order to do that.
And I guess to some extent, maybe modernity is what killed it, because if you're on a stage, you don't see the ventriloquist's lips moving, whereas, on television you do.
And if you think of the stuff that's on stage now, I mean, my God, a man with a puppet on his knee, our ability to suspend our disbelief with something so simple is we're sacrificing that for all of the advancements that we're able to make in these other areas.
When David first wrote the play, I thought, it would be interesting to see what this would be like. And then last week, David said, no, this is really very much a radio play. You can't see this, because if you see it, you'll be so distracted by two people trying to behave as if they are moved by strings and wires. And it would erode the central themes of the play. It would become, in some ways, a physical act.
The dummies in David's play refer to their ventriloquists as master numerous times in the play. What do you all make of that?
I looked at it as we all are puppets to some master in some ways, in the way that social media or the internet can sort of tilt our behavior in different directions, in the way that politically we can be tilted in different directions. To actually have free thought and to actually say your own words is this real act of revolution. The master is very literal in this sense, is that the guy who makes our mouth move, the guy who turns our head. But sort of taking a bird's eye view of that, I feel like, in a way, especially in this modern world we're living in, so influenced by technology and by information moving at such a speed, we're all at the whim of some master, whether we want to believe it or not. And to actually say, I'm going to do what I want to do is this real revolutionary act. But then once you say that, you realize, what the hell do I want to do? I have no idea. And if I do want to do that, is it even my idea or is it somebody else's?
Right. And David Ives is a playwright. You're one of those guys that puts words into people's mouths. So who are you speaking for?
Well, that idea of me putting words in other people's mouths is certainly one that was on my mind when I was writing this. But I have always thought that I am the servant of the people who are speaking my words. And so I love these two guys. I love watching any actor rehearse, speak, stand in a hallway, whatever. It's like I am just a servant for actors. And these guys were brilliant doing.
But I think that's your brilliance, David, is that you take monkeys sitting in a room. What would they talk about? And what's amazing is that you not only flesh them out, but that it has an arc. It tells a story that we wouldn't ordinarily tell. And all because of, dare I say, a high concept. And I've been lucky I've been able to do your work on radio. And when I see your stuff, it just astounds me. It astounds me.
And I'm nothing without a good director. And Walter and I have worked on, God, I don't know how many projects together, but I am so happy to put things into his hands. And this was an amazing 4 hours of theater that we had.
Thank you, actors Richard Kind, Gabriel Ebert, director Walter Bobbie, and playwright David Ives. You've been listening to Playing on Air, Great American Short Plays with Great American Actors. Assistant producers, Rachel Creedberg and Adithya Pratama. Marketing and Education Manager, Shelley Horwitz. Development, Lila Becker. Assistant to the Artistic Director, Eric Judson. Theme music, Tom Kocham. Recording and sound design, John Kilgore. Audio editing, Rachel Creedberg. Playing on Air is distributed by PRX, Public Radio Exchange. For Playing on Air, I'm your host, Claudia Catania. Thanks for listening.